Greetings, Poke fans! Zack Attack here, and we're in for a long one today. I am going to be going over every single one of my draft league teams, every single one, from all the way from ZDL Season 1 to RSL Season 5. One year worth of draft league. Welcome in, Spoopy and Link. Let me get my composition notebook. I literally had to write everything down before stream. I literally had to write everything down. Oh boy. Because it's a lot. It's a lot. It was like 15 different teams. 15! 15! That is way too many. Whew. We got 24 people in here. Feel free to like and subscribe. Oh, man. Join the Discord down below. My goodness. Got the Steelers jumper on. That. All right, I'm probably going to have to turn the music off here because I'm not going to be able to focus with it on. But, oh crap, my phone's falling. My phone's falling. My phone's falling. Crap. Oh, man. All right, let's go ahead and turn this bad boy off. Love the Steelers. That's my GOAT. That is my GOAT. All right. So, when I first started doing Draft League, I posted my first video on my Draft League channel, the Pittsburgh Steelixers. You can find that down in the description below with a Discord. Should you choose to join it, that is your call. Don't forget to subscribe here while you're at it. But my very first video was posted on July 4th of last year. So the anniversary isn't technically until tomorrow. But the reason why I'm doing it today is because I'm not going to be available to do it tomorrow. And then July 5th, I am turning 22. So got a little bit of a birthday hat on. It's a little broken, but we'll make do with what we've got. I feel old. Anyways, the very first team, very first team that I drafted by myself, actually, I was taking over a guy. They were about 2 to 3 weeks into the season, and the best Pokemon the guy had on the team was an Infernape, and I'm like, who authorized this? Infernape? The other good Pokemon was Porygon too. Like, the team was actually garbage. So I took it and turned it into my ZDL Season 1 team. It had Chi-Yu, Quaquaval, Mudsdale, Terra Mudsdale with Ground Fairy Fighting, Toxtricity, Voltaria with Dragon Steel Fairy, Appleton, Bobby the Goal, with Dragon Steel and Fire, Iron Tread, Sinisha, Gyarados, Glamora, and Alolan Ninetales. This team, honestly, it was my first league, but on paper, it's a very good team. The main problem with this one that I had going into the season was, where's the Dragon type on this team? Because the Dragons are Altaria and Appleton. There's literally not a Dragon on this team, which might have been a little bit of a blunder on my part, but it also had like 4 Rapid Spinners. I don't know what I was thinking. Was I just that scared of hazard removal? Probably. Because my best Pokemon being Chi-Yu. Very weak to hazards. Toxtricity was actually originally a Palmont. Because it was faster than Toxtricity, but I changed it out for Toxtricity later because Palmont, because Revival Blessing was banned, and 2, Palmont was hadn't picked up a single KO the entire season to the 2 games I brought it to, and it was garbage. That Pokemon did not do anything. It was actually really, really bad. Palmont, I love you, but you were just not a good Pokemon. And even though Toxtricity has a 4 times weakness to ground, I was not bringing Glamora to any games. I don't know why. I only brought it to 1 game up until that point, and that was week 5. So, yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. I really liked this team. It was my first league. I didn't really know what I was doing. Rookie mistake. Rookie mistake. The kill leader was Chi-Yu. Chi-Yu actually did really, really good, which is expected of a round 1 pick. Like, of course, Chi-Yu's going to do good. It's Chi-freaking-Yu. But Chi-Yu wasn't the Pokemon that everyone wanted to see when it hit the field. Nay. Another thing that I have written down here that I documented is the fan favorite from every single league, without any duplicates, obviously, as we go through all 15 teams. And the fan favorite for this league was, it should come as no surprise, it was Mudsdale, the horse. The horse debuted week 3, because I had to do battles out of order. It debuted week 3, and the horse popped the flip off, took a +3 Terra Water, Terra Blast from the Venomoth, only did like, what was it, like 30%? It did nothing. We love the horse. We love the horse in this household. I haven't drafted Mudsdale since. I don't know why. I need to draft Mudsdale again at some point. Maybe for IDL Season 2, we can run the horseback. I don't know. But it is on the bingo cards. I also have documented my favorite game from the entire season, which for this one was the only regular season game I won without any forfeit wins, and that was week 7 against Eli. That game was, I popped the flip off. I don't know what was going on at times, but whether it was Alola Ninetales setting up Veil, Toxtricity getting KOs, and then Chi-Yu coming in and cleaning up at the end, it was an incredible game. I was, when he switched out Zapdos after I clicked Dark Pulse, I was like, all right, GG. GG, this battle is over. It technically wasn't the first W because that was Nike God, but we don't count that one. That one sucked. That one, fluke win. Anyways, the first true W. Overall, I'm going to give the team a 7 out of 10. Nike God isn't a Pokemon player. He's not real. He's fake. He's fraud. I'm going to give the team 7 out of 10. For a first season, it wasn't a bad team. I just wish I could have played it better. Like, if I draft this entire team all over again, it would do so much better now that I actually know how to use it with the experience I've gained over the years. If I drafted this team again, it would actually be a good team, but rookie mistake. Next team was MDL Season 1. There's 2 different MDLs that are going to be on this list. The first one here is MDL Season 1, which was a low-tier league. And low-tier, it wasn't really my strongest suit. I only did 2 low-tier leagues. This was one of them. And the team actually wasn't all that bad. It was Meanchow, Skeledirge, Swampert, Venomoth, Regidrago, Klefki, Alolan Raichu, Honchkrow, Drifblim, Rampardos, Terra Rampardos, Rock, Ground, and Grass, who was also the Bubby for this season. Always got to have a Bubby. Like, why? Like, you can't go without a team without a Bubby. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And then Cryogonal, which was Ice, Steel, and Ground. If I had Terracaptor peak this season, honestly, both of them really popped off. It took a while for Rampardos to do anything. Rampardos didn't really do anything worth of note until the quarterfinals game, where he got 3 kills against Rose, but I didn't end up winning that game, so that was unfortunate. But love Rampardos. If Rampardos didn't have crap defenses, I would easily grab this one again. 165 base attack, that's nothing to sleep on. It's just that Rampardos is so bad and all of the other stats is just like, oh, you bought your own Bubby? Oh, finally, dude, it took you way too long. I was like, when they dropped new Bubbies, I'm like, I have to tell him to buy one, because if he doesn't buy one, he's going to regret it. Very glad I told you that. If at this point in time, there were no stab Terra types that I had to use, because Terra Ice Cryogonal I never brought. Like, why would I bring Terra Ice Cryogonal? Are you dumb? But if I could have changed that, I would have easily made it like Electric, Poison, or Ghost, because those are just so much better than Ice and Cryogonal. But this team actually, like low-key, like actually this team did a lot of work. Mean Shao, I wasn't expecting much from Mean Shao. It's a pure fighting type. It's got good speed. But honestly, with Regenerator, Assault Vest, U-Turn, the thing actually did more than I thought it was going to. It was a very good Pokemon. Swampert did less than I would have liked it to. I thought Swampert would have been better. It just wasn't. It just wasn't. Regidrago didn't really do much. Klefki did more than I thought it was going to. My God. Skeletor was really, really good, as expected. And then it was Venomoth. Venomoth. Okay, I want to talk about Venomoth for a second, because good God, this thing was insane. So, Venomoth. Actually, it ended up being the kill leader, and of my team. Not the kill leader of the entire thing, just of my team. This thing, I've watched my buddy Zach Manor use it in ZDL because I was a Terra Captain. Obviously, it's a Tier 3 Pokemon, so it's not allowed to be a Terra Captain in this league. But it didn't have to be. I didn't write this down as my favorite game because this game only lasted 5 minutes. But Week 5 against Dire, Venomoth 6-0'd. No, seriously, it actually did. Not a single one of my Pokemon fainted, and Venomoth got all 6 KOs. Or would have if Dire didn't enrage quick. So here's what happened, right? Because this game was actually hilarious, and I just want to talk about it. So he leads Overclow, which should have been Guju, but we're not going to talk about it. Klefki gets not only all of its spikes up, but it gets Prankster blocked twice by Oracle's Dark typing because I'm a dumb boy and forgot that Dark types block Prankster. But as soon as I got that together, after I got up all my spikes and my screens a second time, my God, I switch it out and I go into Venomoth. Now, Venomoth's got Tinted Lens, which is one of the better abilities this thing has. Actually, the best ability this thing has, my God. Turns not very effective moves into neutral hits. So imagine a neutral Sludge Wave against a Overquill, which normally is impossible. Imagine how that much is going to do after a Quiver Dance. But he's smarter than that. He switches Overpoint out and brings in Porygon too on my Quiver Dance. Now, I talked to my front office about this, and I'm like, Porygon 2 knows Thunder Wave. I can run Substitute to block it. However, it's like, does he actually have it? Surely he doesn't have it, right? Well, I substitute it anyway, and he shows Thunder Wave, and I'm like, yes. Now it's time for me to set up all with the +4. I think it was going to go to +4 so I can KO the Porygon too. And then that's when he rage quit. He had nothing. Without a steel type on the team, you're not surviving. You're not surviving a +4 Sludge Wave. I don't care how Violite you are. I don't care. You're not living that. Oh, that game was funny. I don't have Venomoth as the fan favorite though, because that was the one and only time it did anything. Except it got one KO against King, but like that was like it. The fan favorite of the team, to any of my recent viewers' surprise, it was not Alolan Raichu. Pancake didn't exist until like a few months ago. This was in July. This was in like late July. This was like in August when this was going on. So no Pancake. It was actually Cryogonal. For one reason and for one reason only. Week 6. Zach Commander, I'm sorry, but I am about to rant. And I also have that game written down as my favorite one. Week 6 against my boy. This game, well, it was weird because he one-shots my Swampert turn 1. It was an Endure Custat Berry. It was an Endure Custat Berry Swampert that had Stealth Rock. I wasn't ready for Grass Knot though. I was gonna try and get my rocks up. Didn't work out. But regardless of the fact, Cryogonal, I had this very evil Cryogonal set. It was a max defense, 152 mods with an expert belt. Very, very calculated, by the way, very calculated. And then I put the rest in speed. I probably should have put some of it in HP. I wanted the speed for Pheasantipity in case he had some on it. But it was like, I should have put the rest into HP because Cryogonal wasn't outspeeding anything anyway, for the most part. I was kind of hoping the 104 would be enough to outspeed Pokemon, because Cryo's got a natural 105 speed. And a lot of his Pokemon are in the 80s. So I was like, maybe that'll be enough. It was not. I tried, though. Anyways, so Cryogonal got not just... So, with an evil set, too, of Ice Beam. I would have ran Freeze Drive for the Tatsugiri, but it was just Tatsugiri that really only was scared of Freeze Drive. So I just ran Ice Beam, 20 points stronger, and still stab. Like, we're good. Terra Blast, Terra Ground, because like 7 of his Pokemon were weak to the combination of Ice and Ground. Don't ask. Recover for obvious reasons. And then they heat up the Sentry. Acid Armor. After I had gotten my Klefki into position against the horse, because he had Mudsdale that time around. I love that horse so damn much. Klefki had gotten up a few spikes, gotten up the screens, got crit by Body Press, and then I brought in the Cryo. And this is where Cryogonal, oh my god. So it started going on a little bit of a tear. After he sacked Pyra, aka Cerulege, to the spikes, I took out Tornadus and Tatsugiri. I will admit I could have predicted the Rapid Spin, but the main reason why the spikes were up in the first place was to get rid of the Cerulege. They had already done their job. I was not worried. Once Pheasantipity came in, though, it was a little bit of a worrisome. Because I didn't really have anything for Fezzy outside of my Skeledirge. Because apparently this Pheasantipity was physical. I'm not sure why. Anyways, a few torch songs and then Roost and Slack Off shenanigans later, the crowd comes back in. And well, yes, I do get toxic. Big deal. I acid armored. So now that puts me at +2 defense. With my already 252 defense EVs, and I one-shot the rest of his team that's not named Pheasantipity. Or Mudsdale, because it was Assault Vest. But also it is slower than Cryo, so I don't really know how much you want to risk that. Anyways. So, after it takes down the Pheasantipity, the Electivire comes in. So I either have to live an Ice Punch and not die from poison, and I have to KO the Electivire in return. I knew I was going to KO the Electivire. I had already run the calc. But was I going to live the Ice Punch? Thank God I did. Because if I didn't, that would have been bad. I could have recovered up on the Mudsdale, but with the toxic damage racking up, I just decided to take my damage. But what I was not expecting was for Cryogonal to do the most insane thing ever. Hashtag 10% freeze on the ice beam. Okay, to be fair, it didn't really matter because me and Xiao came in and had to make close combat for the win anyway. But that was just funny. Hashtag ice in the wound. Get it? Salt. Hashtag deserve for stealing your horse. Yeah, you did. Actually, fun fact, I know I've told you this, but for every Zach Ball game that's happened, whoever has brought Mudsdale has lost. I don't know why, but apparently the horse is a curse in the Zach Ball. It's so dumb. Yeah, it's so funny at the same time. I'm going to give this team a 7 out of 10. I'm going to give this team a 7 out of 10. It wasn't my favorite team in the world, but it, weirdly enough, performed better than the ZDL one. I went 6-2 in the regular season. Don't ask me how. I guess I'm just the GOAT. Anyways, next up, and this might have been my best season. Well, my best early season. And that was ODL Season 2. This team was actually crazy. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention earlier on the MDL team that Driftblim was a Bramble-Gas, but I was not bringing the Bramble-Gas at all. So I changed it for a Driftblim. Anyways, ODL Season 2. The team was Dragapult, Galarian Slowking, Kilowattrel. Say it with me now. Yeenies the butts. With Terra Flying, Water, and Ground, Kyurem, Alolan Sandslash, Skunting Terra, Dark Fairy Fighting, Paldean Aquatauros, who was the Bubby, because I had to get creative with my Bubbies now. Donphan, Ribombee, Shaman, not the fraud one. Don't want anyone biting off my kneecaps. Pyroar and Hisuian Sliggoo. Now, I will admit, Land Shaman did a lot less than I expected it to. But it was still a good bulky grass type for the games I did bring it to. And Pyroar didn't come until week 8. And Assyrian Sliggoo was just there. I will admit, before the Paldean Tauros and the Skuntank, I did have a Terra Lapras and a Scrafty. But what I didn't realize was that Scrafty doesn't get Sucker Punch. Why? I don't know. So I fixed that. Thank you, Spider Sonic. My birthday isn't actually until Saturday, but I appreciate it anyways. This team did super well. Like, oh my god. Kilowattrel, Uni, Kyurem, and Donphan came to every single game. Literally every single one. They were not benched at all. And weirdly enough, Dragapult only came to 2. I don't know why. I had a Alolan Sandslash there, mainly as a Rapid Spinner plus a Snow Abuser because I had Galarian Slowking. Rabombi had that one good game week 6 against the Cresselia team, Domo. I'm still in shock when I think about that team because it reminds me of how terrible Silverhawk is as a manager. He had Terra Normal Ice Cube for the entire season, and it wasn't even on the dock, and no one said anything. Until I did. Why? I don't know. But I don't really care, because I ended up winning the game anyways. Yeah, but this team was absolutely incredible. The kill leader, not just of the team, but of the entire league. This is the only league I've been in where I've had an MVP Pokemon. And it was Uni, surprise, who also ended up being the fan favorite. And also Uni had her best game of the season, week 7, against Fauster. Now, I'm going to rant about this game because this game was stupid to prep for. Assault Vest, Roaring Moon, and Mox not only destroyed me, I knew it wasn't going to be Assault Vest, Roaring Moon, but just the fact that I had to deal with it in the Mox, even though I knew it wasn't going to come to the game, because why would Fauster ever think of that? I nearly crashed out. Anyways, it was a nightmare to prep for, but I did it. Somehow, by taking the Assault Vest off the Roaring Moon and Mox and slapping it on the Uni. Pause. Anyways, Uni had herself a game here, essentially. Whether it was endgame trying to wipe out the Electro, the Iron Hands, and the Antsy, my Donphan using ice moves that Fauster didn't even know they existed, to not only take down the Dragonite and the Roaring Moon. Okay, well, actually, Rabombi got the KO on the Roaring Moon. That's besides the point. And then Kyurem coming in clutch against Ambipom. I mean, I don't know what you wanted from me. This team was absolutely incredible. Dragapult there just forced a lot of prep. And with that, I was able to exploit a lot of matchups that I don't think I would have been able to exploit otherwise. And I had a lot of really, really good games besides this before falling to Eli in quarterfinals because of my stupidity. I probably wouldn't have won the league anyway, but we're not going to worry about it. Overall, the team, 9 out of 10, really. There wasn't really anything wrong with this team. I had 2 really, really good rapid spinners. I had a lot of good hazard Pokemon. I had an Intimidator. I actually had a Fairy Dragon Steel Cord this time. Okay, the Steel type wasn't a low-end Sand Slash, but like, that's not, shut up. And the Fire, Water, Grass core wasn't that great because the Grass type was a Shaman and the Water type was 90% of the time Terra Water Uni, even though I have a Water type on this team. And then my Fire type was a Pyroar. But, I mean, it's better than what I've had in the past, these past few leagues. Although I will admit, the Chi-Yu Fire Water Grass core was actually pretty good. So, anyways. Now for the 4th team, and this league, I love the team in this league, but I can't give it a high rating because I only played 1 game in it before the league crashed out, and that was TBD. This is one of 2 leagues. Was it only 2 leagues? Yeah, this is one of 2 leagues where where the league did not continue after a set amount of games, and no one was crowned champion, and the league never finished. But with the 1 game I did get to play, let me tell you the team first. It was Okie Dokie. Now it's Ryan time. Volcanion, Whimsicott, Jolteon, Noivern, Terra Bramble-Ghast, Ghost Fairy Ground, Alolan Doug Trio, Wartortle, Terra Water Fairy Steel, Araquanid, Mabostiff, Terra Dark Fairy Fighting, Chandelure, and Bronzong. Now, the Bubby was Wartortle, but like Shell Smash Violet actually sounded kind of good. I'm not even gonna lie. And then this league was also low tier, but this team was more of it used a point system rather than a tier system, so it was more of it was low tier plus, if you will. A lot of these Pokemon are actually tier 4s, like Bramble-Ghast and Mabostiff, that in regular low tier would not be allowed to Terra, but here they're allowed with the point system. So I was like, and with a point system, you could technically get more than 1 tier 1 Pokemon. It wouldn't be recommended, but you technically could have. Just you would have no points at the end. But a lot of this team, I'm not gonna lie, this team on paper, really, really good. You have the Fire, Water, Grass core and just 2 Pokemon, Volcanion and Whimsicott, Okie Dokie with the immediate grounded poison. I mean, like, very good value there. Noivern, I would have loved to use Noivern. I got it mainly as a defogger to pair with Bramble-Ghast, one of my later picks. I mean, yeah, Wartortle could spin too, but Wartortle's never gonna spin. At least not on this team, it wasn't going to. That was gonna be main for Bramble-Ghast. So Noivern was, and very rarely did I ever want to set up hazards with this team. Because, yeah, I had 2 Rockers and a Spiker. But for the most part, these Pokemon could do damage. Like, I got Jolteon round 4 because Uni was taken round 1. So, no Uni. But I was fine with this because I got my flying type elsewhere in Noivern. And I got a couple of ice resist. So I was pretty happy about that. And then the one game I did play against Alex, I don't know how, but my boss have got 3 kills. Don't ask me how. Unfortunately, Ogie Dogie never hit the field, but if the team would have continued on, it definitely would have been the fan favorite for sure, because after all, it was Ryan's time. I definitely do want to draft Ogie Dogie again at some point. But I haven't gotten the chance to, because I've always had other grounded poisons that I've wanted, or other fighting types. And the 4 times weak, the psychic weakness deterred me. Also, on this team, I didn't have a dark type, I'm just realizing. But thankfully, I didn't have to play the Iron Leads. I mean, I was supposed to week 2, but like, I got a chance to because the league went. Anyways, I'm gonna give the team a 6 out of 10. I wouldn't give it higher because on paper it looks good, but with the lack of a dark type and not being able to play the full season, we'll never know. We'll honestly just never know. I can't really give it that high of a grade. I really can't. The next team, though, and despite how bad the team was just in general, well, okay, I will admit, this was my first league. I was going up against actual professionals, so it was PTL Season 1. And the team was good. It was Iron Valiant, Greninja, Wo-Chien, Landorus, Therian, Zapdos, Archaion, Pheasantipity, Talonflame, Cramorant, Wo-Chien being Terra Dark Water Fairy, and Pheasantipity being Fairy Dark Ground. Now, the problem with this team was originally it was a rain team. It had Pelipper, Terra Floatzel, and Floatzel was Water, Grass, and Fairy. And the Talonflame and the Cramorant were actually a Fletchinder and a Quaxwell for Rapid Spin and Defog. Yeah, it was bad. I didn't have any removers. It was really bad. But the team itself actually wasn't that terrible. Floatzel was a lot better than I expected it to be, but I wasn't really running the rain mode after week 1. So I decided to drop the rain mode altogether and pick up some birds. Go Team Sky, I guess? Literally. Landorus, Therian, which technically counts because it's flying type, Zapdos, Pheasantipity, Talonflame, and Cramorant. 5 Pokemon. 5 of them were birds. Go Team Sky, I guess. And after I made that change, the team was a lot better. And I actually started winning games. But I didn't make the playoffs. So this was the first league I missed the playoffs. TBD doesn't count because the league never finished. But if I believe if we would have been able to play all of TBD, I believe I would have made the postseason there. The kill leader on this team was Iron Valiant. It didn't miss a game. It came to every game, and it got at least a kill in every single one, I think. It did really well. But it wasn't the fan favorite. You see, up until this point, and prior to this point, every team on this team, on my draft league teams, have had a Bubby. Bubby the Frog. As a matter of fact, let me go get him. Bubby here. Bubby is the frog mascot for the draft league team Playmore. And they have a Bubby rep for every single season they do. And I wanted to do the same. And this Bubby not only was the fan favorite of this team, but it had one of probably my greatest draft league moments so far. And that was Wo Chien. Wo Chien was the epitome of a stall Pokemon. Without Terra, this thing is completely useless, and I would not recommend drafting it. But if you're in a league with one that can Terra, good God. Not only did this Pokemon pop off in more ways than one, especially week 7, but week 2 it had a pretty good performance too against Crap, being able to not only stall the Iron Leaves that she had, but she had a lot of physical attackers too, like Blaziken. And Wo Chien not only did Tempest Ruin nerfing them, but being able to lead seed on top of that? I mean, hey. It's not that strong, but its natural bulk allows it to live a lot of hits that it normally would not. Especially with Terra, being able to change its type. It doesn't get Synthesis, though. So its recovery is a little lacking. It's kind of forced to run Leftovers. Or Assault Vest if you want to make it some form of some kind of attack, which I did do twice. And you have a 2x Leap Seed variants. The battle week 7 against Void was one of those Leap Seeding variants. I didn't get to click it though because Hatterene was a pain in the B-U-T-T. But during that battle, Bubby did one of the most incredible things I had ever seen a Pokemon do before in my life. 1v1 a Hatterene. Now 1v1ing a Hatterene is not that impressive. It's a Hatterene. But this Hatterene in particular could heal itself with Draining Kiss and set up Trick Room, meaning it was not only faster than Bubby, but with Mystical Fire, it could weaken my Bubby's offense it could basically neuter Bubby entirely. But Bubby not only got a crit Giga Drain at one point, but was able to live so many hits. That 1v1 lasted, I want to say, 10 whole minutes. And due to a misclick on Void's side, he clicked Trick Room again when it was already set up. I don't know how that happened. Still boggles my to this day. Not only did Bubby end up winning the 1v1, but KO'd the Rillaboom at the Revavroom not long later, allowing Iron Valiant to come in and clean up the game later with Bruce's Speed Close Combat against a modest Scarf Typhlosion. I'm gonna give this team a 5 out of 10. I don't hate this team, but I definitely think it could have done better if it was in a league where the teams were less top heavy. Because this team wasn't very top heavy. And it had a lot of good Pokemon on it, but a lot of them were getting crapped on by threats like Palafin. Palafin was the main one. Gouging Fire, although, okay, that was actually kind of my fault for not making my Iron Valiant special attacker. I hate Burning Bulwark so much. Also, how does Oscar hit all of his Focus Blast with Darkrai, but miss all of his Hydro Pumps with Iron Bundle? It doesn't make any sense. Like, it still boggles my mind how that happened. Because my Archaludon would have won that game. That's close. I hate everything. And then after that, took a little bit of a break, and I say a little bit because I got dragged right in the More Leagues after that one was ending, or had ended, and we now start MLBBL Season 1. This began one of my craziest draft league runs ever. This team was Gouging Fire, Great Tusk, Uni, again, with Terra Flying and Ground, Ogerpon Wellspring, Tinkaton, Galarian Weezing, Chandelure, Arboliva, Torque, who was Poison, Fairy, and Fire, Torkoal, and Spiritomb. Of course, Uni got her led the team in kills again. But this league, I started off slow. Could have won my first two if I wasn't a total idiot. And then week 3, actually, I kind of want to talk about week 3 for a little bit because it was against Twisted Games, my GOAT. And it was kind of funny because I brought Terra Poison into him with my Arboliva when another Terra Poison Arboliva was brought into him in a different league like just a few weeks ago. And mine performed better? How did that happen? But that game, I brought Trick Room, which looked good and was good. So my own focus session on my Chandelure came back to bite me. And also, Uni getting the confusion on the Hariyama was funny. Because that actually, okay, it didn't matter long term, but at that point, it was very, very funny. But I ended up losing to Blood Moon Ursaluna in the end. He made some very great switches and put himself into a very, very good position to win the game at the end, which honestly, mad respect. But it was after that game, week 4 against Deadly Rose, where things finally turned around for me. One, she threw by not bringing Clefable instead of bringing Skarmory, which was a free kill for my Torkoal. But it wasn't just that. It was the fact that Uni did something only she could do. And no, that wasn't the Tailwind tech. I never got to click it, gosh darn it. Although I really wanted to so badly. I hovered over that button so many times. But after getting the KO on Latios, Uni positioned herself into getting in front of the Ogerpon Cornerstone. That was allowed to Terra. And with Terra Ground, was able to not only take out the Ogerpon Cornerstone, but Specs Keldeo was not enough to kill with Vacuum Wave, allowing Uni to wrap up the game where it stood. And the Moringa Berry take on Gouging Fire came in clutch, especially against Spectrier, because it actually mattered to get the KO to live Shadow Balls from Spectrier to get the KO. So, pat myself on the back for that one. A lot of people questioned Ogerpon Wellspring on a Sun team that had Torkoal. But I wasn't planning to run Sun for many of the battles I was doing. As a matter of fact, I only brought Torkoal to 2 games. And week 4 was one of them. So it actually ended up being a lot better than it looked like it was going to be. And Ogerpon Wellspring actually was really, really good, despite being kind of on a team where it really shouldn't be. Because you would think it would be on like a rain team, like the one that Silver had. But with Water Absorb, even though it does quad resist water naturally, it could actually give me an immunity to to water Pokemon and allow me to hit them with super effective grass attacks. So it played a vital role in the team. Overall, I'm going to give this team an 8 out of 10. It was definitely the best one I've had so far. Sorry, ODL Season 2 team, you guys were very good, but this one was definitely one of the better ones. It was lacking a good dark type. A lot of my teams were early on. But the next team was the team that got me over the quarterfinals hump. ZDL Season 2, where Ubers were now finally seeing themselves in Draft League once again. And this was a concept that my front office and I were like, this could be good if I really want to see how this team plays out. And it was a very, very good team. It was Giratina Origin, Iron Moth Terra, no Terra type specific, it was Open Terra, Clefable, Hisuian Samurott, Sandy Shocks, Metagross, Galvantula, Cyclizar, which was an OG Bubby, so check that one off the list, and a Vileplume Terra. Now, this team, I have not only one of the best Ubers in the game, because, okay, I will admit, both Dragon and Ghost have the double-edged sword problem of being weak to themselves, but I have one of the best utility Pokemon in the game, and it's bulky. Who cares if it has 90 base speed? It's Giratina Origin. Like, this thing is insane. Best Defogger, it's Will-O-Wisp and Thunder Wave. I almost said Hex, but then I realized I am not King County Mel's, thankfully. Iron Moth was probably one of the better Pokemon on the team, being able to get rid of that pesky 4 times ground weakness and change myself into whatever type I wanted was definitely something that was muy bueno, 9 times out of 10. Clefable, of course, being an unaware, bulky fairy, saved me a lot, especially week 2 against Kamiki, where that terrifying Lugia was a menace to society. Of course, I had Sandy Shocks, Great Electric Ground, really wanted to Blood Moon or Saluna, or Ting-Lu, but I'll live. Metagross came in clutch a few games. I didn't really like Cyclizar as much as I thought I was going to, but it was a really fast rapid spinner, and that was the main reason I got it. And it played that role quite well. And of course, Vileplume, defensive Pokemon. But the Pokemon that I really want to talk about is Hisuian Samurott. This thing was not only the kill leader, but it became probably one of the bigger iconic Pokemon on my draft league teams since the horse. Jace attacked him. If you don't know the origin behind that, one of my good buddies put my name and a few others through Google Translate 100 times. Mine came back as Jace attacked him. And I had just finished drafting this team. And so I was like, well, I gotta nickname one of my Pokemon Jace. And everyone collectively voted on Hisuian Samurott. And oh my god, week 1 against my GOAT. Hey, you two! And Zachmander, this thing popped the flip off. Giratina didn't even have to hit the field. That's how crazy it got. All I had to do was get Jace into a position, and then sharpness boosted, hit whatever was in front of me for the KO. And it got 4 of them. I will admit, staying in front of the Bishop was a tiny bit of a throw, but I didn't think he was going to risk swords dancing when I could easily just go out into my Giratina or my Cine Shocks in the back and just hit him in the face. Because a throat chop into a sucker punch on a Sandy switch would have killed it. And that was something I didn't want to risk. And Giratina, being a ghost type, was weak to dark. So Big Shark probably could have reverse swept me, but it didn't. So we were fine. And it was also the team where I made my very, very first semifinals game. And I will admit, the game against Thriller was a lot harder in quarterfinals than I would have liked it to be. But thankfully, the Zarude wasn't as that bad around. It was the Infernape that was giving me a much harder time. But I ended up winning that game. Yay! And what's funny is that both times I've played Destroyer, it was in ZDL. ZDL doesn't win week 5 and then semifinals. I swear, that Ursaring hadn't crit me, I was very mad. But it is the game we play. It is the game we play. I would have loved to see how that game would have played out because my Clefable at that time was, I think, +3. Had set up 3 causing powers by that point. If he would have got not have crit the Facade at any point in time, I feel like I may have won that game. Because Clefable would have taken any hit, been able to heal, and it was mainly there as a mags counter. And it was doing that pretty well, I will say. I'm going to give this team a 9 out of 10. I did really, really like this team. This team might have surpassed. My teams are getting better and better. And it was ODL Season 2, MLBBL, and now ZDL Season 2. These teams are getting progressively better. And then something strange happened. I got a call from my front office saying that they were in a Little Cup league. And they weren't really enjoying it. And they wanted to see if I was interested in it. They had 4 weeks left, so it would have been like a short little side story. There wasn't really much that I would have been able to do. The team was 0-4. But I wanted to try something. You know, I wanted to see if I could succeed in a format that I wasn't used to. So I decided to take the plunge and join the PPDL, and that was already halfway through a season, and ended up picking up the squad of Pawniard, Wattrel, Baby Yeanie's the bus, Larvitar, Silicobra, Totodile, Fennekin, Baby, Coughing, Milcery, and Squovet. Now, Larvitar was not only the Bubby, there were, and I don't think I mentioned the MLBBL Bubby. It was Tinkaton, but anyways, Larvitar was the Terra. You were only allowed 1 Terra Pokemon, 8 points or under. Larvitar was 8. And it being a baby pseudo, I thought was going to be a very good Pokemon to make the Bubby. So there's Terra. And it was open Terra, but it was also closed Terra. It was closed Terra. Basically, I had options to all of the Terra types. So it was open Terra. But I didn't have to reveal my Terra type. So I could go in and catch my opponent by surprise. And I almost won my week 5 game, my first game, if Glimmet wasn't such a fast Pokemon. Why was this thing so fast? But, of course, Baby Uni, being the goat she is, did get the most kills on the team. But Bubby the Larvitar actually ended up winning the fan favorite because, well, yeah, Baby Uni's the bus, of course. Larvitar had a few better moments than Baby Uni did. Baby Uni's better moments were getting the KOs on Ariolu week 5 and Piplup week 6 to end the game. But it did have the most KOs on the team. Larvitar's biggest game, because, yeah, it came to every single one. It's my Terra Captain, obviously. Of course, it came to every single one. But the biggest moment it had was week 6 against the Commissioner Pup, who had a Mudbray. The horse strikes again. Why is it that every time the horse is either used against me or used with me, the person with the horse loses? Because it happened with Rose, it happened with Zachmander, and then now it happened with Pup? Who authorized this? Why is this Pokemon? I mean, I'm not complaining. It brings bad luck to my opponent, so... But I still want to draft the horse again. Anyways, with Terra Water Dragon Dance, it was plowing through a lot of my opponent's team. But good God, I was not expecting Delibird to give me such a problem. It's a Delibird. But my Arcos, that thing was a nightmare to fight. I'm just glad I was able to beat it with a crit Aqua Jet with Totodile, which the crit did matter. The crit did matter. But I'm not complaining. I'm going to give this team, because I only played with this team for 4 weeks, so I can't give it a good rating. But with the Pokemon that I had, it was definitely good enough. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10, which is more on the lower side, I'll admit. But the team just, I don't know. It's just, I feel like it could have been a little bit better. But then we get to a fun one. I love this team. It was MDL Season 6 with my side spam squad of Deoxys Speed, Sneasler, Hoopa Unbound Terra, Indeedee Male, Blastoise, Wartortle Evolved, it seems, Florges, Skarmory, Rhyperior Terra, Araquanid, and Hisuian Typhlosion. So, Bubby the Wartortle evolved into Bubby the Blastoise, so that was fun. But it wasn't just that. This team actually performed a lot better than I... Performed pretty well. I wouldn't say it was better than I expected, but it wasn't worse either. There were a lot of hacksy moments with this team. Like a lot. And we'll get to those in a moment. Hoopa Unbound, though, came to every single game, so it naturally became the kill leader of the team. But it did really, really well. You didn't really expect it much, that Hoopa Unbound would be able to live so many hits. Because it's a bad physical defense, but it's got naturally good HP and Spadaf. Just keep it away from the physical attackers, and it hits like a train. It's slower, but it hits like a train. Indeedee Male really only ever ran 2 items, the Terrain Extender and the Choice Scarf. My team really liked Choice Scarfs. For the most part, like Hisuian Typhlosion, Hoopa Unbound, Indeedee Male, Sneasler. a lot of Pokemon on my team liked the choice scarf, which made me feel pretty good. Of course, I also took advantage of Steel's Burden a lot with the terrain. And Deoxys Speed, doing Deoxys Speed things, being so versatile, can be offensive with Meteor Beam. It can also be utility with like hazards and stuff. It's a very good Pokemon. But it wasn't the fan favorite. I expected it to be, but it actually ended up being Sneasler. And the main reason for that was week 8. I didn't make the postseason, but I did win my final game of the regular season, which made me feel really happy, and it was against our buddy Twisted Games. Now, I got to ramble on about this game for a minute because it was incredibly hacksy. It was so hacksy, in fact, that Twisted refused to upload his side of the video, which baffles me because it's your job. You're supposed to upload your battles, but he was so embarrassed and so mad about how hacksy the game was, he just refused to upload it. And I'm like, buddy, upload your side. I want to see your reactions. We'll never know. But basically, here's how it went. 2 of the Pokemon that he had that could have won the game for him outright were Moltres, Galarian Moltres, to be more specific, and Iron Valiant. Galarian Moltres' ability is Berserk, which gives you a +1 special attack boost every time your HP gets below half. And he had a set on it that was diabolically evil. He had, on this Moltres, agility to not only outspeed Deoxys, but he had Pain Split, which was so evil. I don't even want to talk about it, but I have to, because if I don't, you're not going to understand what's happening here. It got him up back over half health, which is like, oh, that's not that big of a deal, right? You had Flores on the field. Just 2 more Moonblast, and you're fine, because Pain Split can only heal so much, right? Well, you're not wrong, but after you get above half health with Galarian Moltres, the Berserker boost will happen again once it gets below half health again. And it did, because Florida's didn't kill it. So I was staring down a +2 special attack, +2 speed Galarian Moltres, which all it has to do is Hurricane and Fiery Wrath my entire team into the oblivion. But it missed a Hurricane. And it was able to, well, Florida's knocked that out of the park. So that was one crisis averted. And after Iron Boulder came in, knocked out my Florida's and my Indeedee, Sneasler was able to come in and hit the field. Take out the Iron Boulder and the Rotom for us, which he could have teared either of them. He didn't. After taking them out both with close combat, Iron Valiant hits the field. Now, obviously, it looks like Iron Valiant should lose. Sneasler was faster with the Unburden, and Dire Claw is super effective. But I know my friends. They like to run calcs. I knew Dire Claw was not going to kill the Iron Valiant. Because I was jolly sped crept for Iron Valiant in case it was agility, which wouldn't have mattered in this case because my final Pokemon was Super Unbound. Basically, I had to get the status from Dire Claw, which there are 3 of them: Sleep, Paralysis, and Poison. Sleep and Poison win me the game immediately, and Paralysis brings it down the chance, but it would have put the chance heavily in my favor. Basically, I just needed a status, and I was going to win the game. So I go for Dire Claw, And it was the best possible scenario for me. Not only did I get the sleep from Dire Claw, but the Iron Valiant was weakness policy. So not only did it save me from a kill from the Iron Valiant, but it made it so that the Iron Valiant's weakness policy was useless. Oh, man, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. I'm sorry, Twisted. I'm sorry. Hacks suck. But it was my only out. I did need it. Neither of us probably would have made the playoffs anyway, but like, come on, man. Give this one to me, all right? They don't call me Sugar King 2.0 for nothing. The Hacks King. Zack Attack. In this bit. So that was really the extent of that season. It was a great season. I'm going to give the final rating for the team 7 out of 10. It was a very, very good team. I will admit there were some Pokemon like Skarmory and Student Typhlosion that I wish I could have switched out in free agency because I wasn't really bringing them very often. But they weren't terrible. I mean, they had uses on the team. It's just they weren't getting used a whole lot at all, if ever. No, we're almost done, I think, right? There's still 6 more teams. Oh, good. There's still 6 more teams. Well, the next one is CMM, Mudkip Division, Season 5. And I loved this league. The people there, a lot of them I met in the PTL. Like Crep, Maki, among a few others. The team wasn't all that crazy, though. Well, okay. It was, but it didn't do as well as I would have liked. The team was Meowscarada, Kyurem, Iron Moth, Enamorous Therian Terra with Fairy Stealing Water, Vaporeon, Galarian Zapdos, Hisuian Quillfish, Oricorio Terra, Flying Fairy Ground, Lilivani, and Komala. Now, Oricorio was the Bubby. You got S tier minus so bad. Okay. I feel so bad for you, dude, because Iron Bundle didn't do anything for you. You brought to every game and didn't get a single KO in any of the games. Honestly, that might just be a skill issue. I don't know. Or maybe Iron Bundle just hates you and Oscar. I don't know. We might have to have a conversation about that one later. But this team, honestly, was pretty good. It had a lot of good speed on it. Mine was one of the few teams that had any speed on it. But this team only won 2 games. Week 1 against Zom, who had like the best team in the league, and I somehow beat that team. And Squeaks, which was the ODL Season 1 champion. So I beat 2 really good players, but only 2. A lot of other people in this league I knew, again, really well, but their teams were just violently better than mine. There wasn't really a bad team in this league. Sitting with the PTL, there wasn't really a bad team. I just got unholy outclassed. Not to mention, one of the coaches in this league was one of the people that was what we like to call a draft league GOAT. He was one of the people that actually was able to revive draft league from the dead. And I got to battle this guy. Week 4, Gray V. Love the guy. But the battle in itself, well, I got to battle a great guy, a great dude. I love him. The battle could not have gone worse. There were like 5 disconnects, meaning we had to recreate the battle 10 million times before we just gave up and did it on Showdown, where we still had to recreate more times. And I probably wouldn't have won the game, but I would have performed a lot better if we didn't crit my Excadrill. Oh boy. Love the guy to death, but good God, that game took a lot longer than it should have to make or do because of all the single interferences that were happening on my side, not his. I felt so bad. Ellie had made the comp and everything. I think I actually still have the comp screenshotted on my Nintendo Switch, which is funny to think about. Oh, man. She's very silly. She's very silly. Go subscribe to them. They're great people. I ended up giving myself, but because of my battle against Gravy, the fan favorite, I thought it was going to be Meowscarada, and for the most part, it was. Meowmander, big deal here on the channel. But it ended up being an Amorous, which low-key was one of the better Pokemon in the league. I will admit, my kills were not that high. Like, Meander was my kill leader, but it was like 23rd on the kill leaderboard. My Pokemon did not do good in this league at all. But an Amorous did a lot better than I expected it to. And I nicknamed it after Gravy's Enamorous that he had in the PPL a few months ago, before this league started. So I was very happy about that. I'm going to give the team a 6 out of 10. I want to put it higher, but it only won 2 games, so I really can't rate it that high. It just wasn't. It was a good team. It's a good team on paper, but it wasn't gelling. It wasn't gelling. Maybe if the power level was down a little bit, but no. Had to bring this team into a league where all the coaches were good. But then we get to arguably the best team I've ever had. IDL Season 1. Twisted's League. Well, thankfully I didn't have to fight him, because if I did, I probably would have hacked him. Again. The team was Terra Zarude, Poison Fairy Fire, Weavile, Pecharunt, Iron Crown, Regieleki, Gliscor, Keldeo, Goodra, and Rabombi. Now, I don't know who the kill leader was. They stopped updating the doc after week 6. But I'm pretty sure it was Keldeo. It was very close between Keldeo and Weavile. But I think Keldeo barely won out. Pretty sure. Anyways, a lot of these games on this team, from this team, were really, really good. And it was very hard to pick a fan favorite or a favorite game, because you could make an argument for most of these Pokemon. Zarude, Weavile, Pecharunt, Keldeo. Like, you could make an argument for those 4 mainly. Weavile more or less. But the other 3, you could have made an argument for. I gave it, though, to Petrarant. The only thing that Giroud had really done up until the postseason, where it went on a bulk-up synthesis campaign, was against... What was it against? It had done a lot of stuff, too, mainly Choice Scarf it, and just let it knock out a few Pokemon. But the one game where it really did anything was against Oscar, really. And I ended up losing that game. So, actually, both of my losses were only 1-0s. My team performed so well that I was number 1 in the standings when the season was done. I was the number 1 team in the league. Which was, as you can probably imagine, very cool and very good. My team did better than Zach Manders by admittedly only 1 differential point. And Destroyer. Somehow. I don't know how. That Terra Screamtail had caused so many problems. But we made it. Somehow. You are pretty Pod Needle, but that Terra Screamtail. Thankfully, I didn't have to fight it. Because if I did, I probably would have pulled all of my hair out. And this team brought me to my very first finals, where it ended up being a Zach Bowl finals. I don't know what it is, but every time I've met up with Zach Mander in the postseason, I've brought sets that were more gimmicky, less than ideal, still good, but very easily out-preppable if he brought the right stuff. And both times he brought the right stuff. I'm still never going to live down that Encore Overpawn Heartflame. But I will always have week 1 where Keldeo, oh my god, he hit all them Hydro Pumps. We love Keldeo here in this household. Flame! There were a few of other really, really good games too. I had the 5-0 Rabami sweep, where Rabami got all the kills against Chef Ramsey week 5, and then Keldeo's second sweep against Spoopy in week 6. And then, of course, week 8 against Neil, Petrarant, led me to that number 1 seed, glorious day. Week 2 against Mitch, got my revenge for that PTL game. Buddy, that guy could not break. That game was he could not break my Petrarant or my Glyph score. He was like, oh, I'm just going to substitute against the Petrarant. Get up a few fire against boost. It's going to be fine. Figures out that parting shot, the sound move. Anyways, because this team made it all the way to the first finals, and all of the team members at least contributed somewhat, Reggie Alecki on the lower side, but all of the team at least did something useful at least once in the season. Even Gudra did stuff. Week 2 and week 6 especially. So, yeah. Just make sure if you drop, if you have a spectator on your team and the person that gave you the team dropped, do not drop the spectator. No. Do not do it. Because next time someone does it, I will kill them. Anyways, I'm going to give this team a 10 out of 10. It got me to my first finals. I feel like that's a fair grade. And when season 2 rolls around, you better believe I'm going to be back. You better believe that my revenge will finally come forth. Because I always come back. That was actually pretty good. And now we go from the best team I've ever had to the worst team I've ever had. ODL Season 4. This team, I went into this league, and I'm like, it's Silverhawks League. Let's just pick a bunch of Pokemon and see what happens. And it was an Ubers League. They kind of stole ZDL's enthused off and was like, all right, here we go. Have fun. The team was Palkia Origin, which is the one I wanted for ZDL, and I got it here, thankfully. Dragapult, Gouging Fire, Glamora Terra, Tinkaton, Bobby's back, Hatterene, Vikavolt, Torterra Terra, say that 3 times fast, Honchkrow, and Komala. This team, actually garbage. I went into this team thinking it was going to be one of my better ones. This team didn't win a single game. Not one. Literally not one. The 2 wins I had on the dock came from forfeit wins that I had in week 3 and week 6. Games I was confident I would have won had my opponents actually been able to play. Because week 3, I had very heat sets. Torterra especially. Which is funny, because the 2 games that were forfeit losses, or forfeit wins, I was going to bring Torterra to those. Why do I do this? Why do I do this? Why is it that every time I associate with Silverhawk, something bad happens? That's the Silverhawk effect for you. This team was honestly not that great. It was very top heavy, making it pretty easy to prep for. Palkia, Dragapult, Gouging Fire, Glamora, they were coming to basically every game. Hatterene was the weak link. Honchkrow and Komala are never coming. So that really leaves Tinkaton, Vikavolt, and Torterra. And 90% of the time, those Pokemon are going to be Tinkaton and Vikavolt. It was pretty easy to prep for this team. It was not a good team. It was just not. It was not a good team. The kill leader ended up being Glamora, which was a twist I did not see coming. I was going to give Gouging Fire the fan favorite for MLBBL Season 1. So, because until I gave that to Arbalova, but since it's not here, give it to Gouging Fire. The 2 games that I really had a lot of fun with battling were week 1 against Phoenix and week 4 against Latenna. I think my favorite of those was against Phoenix because that game I actually had a chance to win. But Sylveon said, nay, you're not going anywhere. Overall, I'm going to give this team a 3 out of 10. I actually haven't posted my Ben Gallagher week 5 game from this league. So there's actually a few games I haven't uploaded yet. And we'll get to them. One of them was the ODL Season 5 game. So if you haven't subscribed to the Pittsburgh Steelixers, I am still very behind on videos, so I will get those videos out at some point or another. I'll probably record them after I'm done with this stream before I forget. I'm going to forget if I don't do them now. But it was arguably my worst game of the entire season. And the other ones weren't much better. Next up, and this team was honestly low-key pretty good. It was SBDA Season 2, Ultra Ball Division. The team was Urshifu Single Strike, Blood Moon Ursaluna, Sylveon, Metagross, Tentacruel, Uni with Flying Water and Ground Terra. She has her Water Terra back now. Excalibur, Paldean Blaze Tauros, with Terra Fire, Grass, and Ghost, who was also the Bubby for this season. Whimsicott, and Master Rain. Of course, Uni was the kill leader, as she always was. But this was the first time where Uni actually missed the game. She missed week 1. And that was actually one of my better games, and Uni wasn't there for it, which is really weird. But basically, that game, week 1, ended up catapulting Sylveon to being one of the fan favorites, and was the only Pokemon on my entire team that was even mentioned in the SPDA Awards. Uni wasn't there at all. Nowhere. And she was top 5 in the kill leader. I feel like that was pretty validated. Anyways, I'm enraged, but a lot of the games that I had were pretty good. Of course, the game against King, the good King, not the fraud one, and Zell were tough for sure, and Cali Dude. My God, that Clodsire, I wanted him to pull all my hair out. But that game against Cali Dude was also one of Uni's better games. So it was kind of a mixed bag, because I lost to Clodsire. It got one more kill than Uni did. But Cali Dude also gained respect for Uni. So it all kind of balanced out. Anyways, my favorite game was week 1 against Rolder. It was a pretty solid game. He had a weakness policy Bronzong lead that had Trick Room. Don't ask me why. And after my Tentacruel knocked off the weakness policy, it kills my Urshifu. And then Sylveon not only has to stall out not only all of the Trick Room, but I have to get my Sylveon to +6. Instead of the 6 Calm Minds. Do you know how long that took to set all of that up? Only to only to 2-shot the Bronzong with Hyper Voice? It took 10 minutes. 10 minutes. One stray crit, and I would have lost the game on the spot. But Sylveon, being the GOAT she is, pulled through. And then I ended up winning the game 5-0. I don't know how, but Sylveon is the actual GOAT. I'm actually going to give this team 8 out of 10. I want to give it higher, but I did throw in the quarterfinals game against Bick. If I would have used Dragon Dance one more time on max caliber before taking out the Octus speed, because the Octus speed was at -2, it wasn't doing any damage. But if I would have set up one more Dragon Dance before he brought back in the Rhyperior, and after I killed the Octus speed, I would have won the game, because I would have had the damage output to Icicle Spear and Scale Shot the rest of his team. So a little bit of a blunder on my part, but it is what it is. I thought +1 was going to be enough, and then I remembered Rhyperior existed. So that was an oopsie. Uni almost cleaned up the game, though. I got to give her credit. She almost cleaned up the game. But also, Uni never went Terra Water or Terra Ground for any of these games. She was always Terra Fly every single week. Every single week. So, you know, I kind of respect it. And now we are on our final two teams. I thought this was going to take me a lot longer to do, but here we are. We are on the final two teams. This is crazy. The furthest of the two was MLBDL Season 2, and this was the highest highest tier format I've ever done. Now, we have done Ubers in the past. I've had two other teams that had Ubers. But this league in particular, it wasn't UU Ubers or OU Ubers. It was all the Ubers. Okay. Minus a few Arceus forms. But it was all the big ones. Terra Terapagos, Jetbutt, Kyogre, Ghost Rider, Ice Rider, Koraidon. All the big names. And I was honestly a little bit lower on the draft board than I would have liked to be. I did not get Jetbutt. I would have liked Miraidon. I would have loved Miraidon. Miraidon was my number one. Luke got it because he was pick 4. Yeah. And I ended up getting the last non-Arceus on the board. Kyogre. So I'm going to build a rain team with Kyogre, Magearna, Basculegion, Tornadus Therian Terra, Quaquaval, Overpond Cornerstone, Uniterra, Clodsire, Hydrapple Terra, Houndoom, and Murkrow. Kyogre, obviously, Drizzle. Magearna, I was going to go with Fluttermane here, but it got taken. And I wanted a Steel type. I wanted an early good Steel type. Fluttermane would have only been there to abuse Sun teams, the Koraidon and the Groudon one, namely. And I did have the Groudon one on my schedule. Did, being the key word there. We'll get to that in a moment. Basculegion, I only picked up because, 1, Specimen Adaptability, and 2, Last Respects was legal. If Last Respects wasn't legal, I would have picked something else here. But because it was, I get my fishy friend. For Tornadus Terra, I had a few options here. I could have gone Quaquaval Terra. I did get Quaquaval, but I mean like Terra Quaquaval. Tornadus was an available option. Ogerpon Wellspring was an available option. I think Rapid Strike got taken right before me, but it was an option. I had a lot of options. Archaludon, but I did just get a Steel. I ended up going with Tornadus for the flying type. I was going to get Wellspring, but because it wasn't UU Ubers, and the Uber tier was higher, and I had to fight things like Miraidon and Koraidon, or just Sun in general, I knew that getting a Pokemon with only one Terra type specifically wasn't really going to help me. So I went with Tornadus. And then I just got my Ogerpon later. I got Ogerpon Corner for good rock offense and sturdy. Quavel, bring back the duck. Uni, 100% accurate hurricanes in the rain. You know the drill. Clodsire was going to be the new Bubby. Wanted a ground and poison, wanted a ground type at that point in the draft. And it was also one of the champion Pokemon Big E had in Season 1. Hydrapple, Bubby's cousin. Houndoom, Abuse Sun teams. Murkrow, Pranks or Tailwind. That was basically it. However, I never completed the season. Kyogre and Basculegion, when I ended the season, when I stopped playing my games, both tied for 3 kills. But Basculegion didn't come to week 1, so I'm giving it to Kyogre. Hydrapple, I'm giving the fan favorite because it's Bubby's cousin, but the season didn't really go on long enough for there to be a true fan favorite. Although Clodsire had a lot of good moments, had some good moments in this season. But I also did not upload my week 2 game against Big E, which, spoiler alert, I did win. And I did not have fun trying to break that Lugia. Or the Kyurem Black. Or the other Uber that he had. It was Eternatus. Actually, Eternatus was fine. But Gearna kind of handled it. Anyways, but I'm not going to spoil it for those who want to wait till I upload it, who want to avoid spoilers, but I did list it as my favorite game, so expect a good game. I'm going to give the team an 8 out of 10. I didn't finish the season, and Lucinderace took over my team. But I really liked where I was going with the team. I think at this point in my tenure, the stress of having done so many draft leagues up to this point was really starting to get to me. And then Silverhawk was being Silverhawk on the server and being an annoying son of a basket. So I just gave up. I didn't really think I was going to win the league anyway because Miraidon and Shadow Rider were rolling around. But the team was really, really good. Unfortunately, Uni never came to either game. I would have really loved to bring Uni, but Tornadus was kind of doing everything by itself. Tornadus was actually doing a lot better than I was expecting. And didn't do anything week 1, except knock off the Terapagos specs. But apart from that, it was doing pretty. But in week 2, it actually did a lot. So props to Tornadus. And then week 5, and then my last team, RSL's Season 5, which was also a short-lived season, but I'll discuss it anyway. Terapagos, Meowscarada, Urshifu Rapid Strike Terra, Latias, Clodsire, Klefki, Sylveon, Talonflame, Bellibolt, and Spiritomb Terra. As you can see, a lot of older faces here. Meowmander, Clodsire. Clodsire was also kind of recent too. But Klefki, we haven't seen Klefki for a few months. Talonflame, Spiritomb, with Terra now? Sylveon? Hold on. And Urshifu, but this one has Terra? Interesting. I will admit, I only got to play 2 games. I won my week 1 against Tribal Chief Brett, who I did play in the PTO and got powerfinned. Badly. But, and this time around, I got my revenge. Terapagos doing a lot of hits, Meow Manor doing Meow Manor things, Urshifu having a Focus Sash, Clodsire stockpiling, and being a Covert Cloak Menace against Sneasler. Twisted, I hope you're taking notes. Pack Covert Cloaks. There were a few Pokemon on the team, though, that I really would have liked to use more, or really didn't get a chance to shine. Like Latios got completely crapped on both games. Bellybolt came to week 1 and ended up being Dragapult food. I had to sack it early. Would have loved to see it do some stuff. Sylveon and Spiritomb, I actually made a transaction. I was going to trade them both in for a Azumarill. Keyword. But really, it was Terapagos, Meowscarada, and Urshifu and Clodsire that were the backbone of the team. And Clodsire not only was the kill leader, okay, well, it was with Urshifu and kills at this point, but it got 3 kills week 1. It didn't get any in week 2. Choice Span and Roaring Moon. But, like, a lot of people were saying Clodsire for MVP, potentially. So it ended up being the fan favorite. And was the Bubby for both MLBBL and this league. And it probably would have overtaken Wochien for best Bubby if I finished either of these leagues. But unfortunately, it was at a time where the stress was getting to me. I was tired. And also, RSL pulled a TBD. It only lasted 2 weeks. After that, out the window. Because people were dropping left and right. They even had to redraft again because apparently Zach Maynard's team was too busted. And they were like, we can't handle this team. We don't want to deal with it. Get it away from us. Why did we allow this to happen? Dragapult and Iron Valley on the same team? Why? Why? Why did we allow this? Anyways, and then I took its place and drafted this team, which, quite frankly, not as good, but still very, very good. I'm going to give this team a 9 out of 10. I do think that the team would have done, I would have been able to get a lot more out of the team. And out of all of the teams that I've had that were short-lived, this was one of the better ones. I felt good about this team, about as good as I did the team in RSL. I genuinely thought that I might have been able to win the league if I had kept going. If I was able to keep going, genuinely I think that I could have won the league. And who knows, maybe Clodsire would have gotten the kill leader. Who knows? But unfortunately, we'll never know. Because like the TBD, hashtag RIP RSL. But really, these were some good teams. I was very proud of what I was able to accomplish in just 1 year. 15 teams of finals appearance, 1 semifinals, and a 50-50 playoff and a 50-50 playoff ratio. Like, I did really well. a lot better than I was expecting I was going to do. And I don't know when I'm going to be doing draft again. Also, my RSL stuff, I never uploaded any of it. So, like the draft analysis or either game. So I do have to do those as well. So that's 5 videos on my second channel, the Pittsburgh Steelixers, that are going to be uploaded. At some point this month, I might spread it out a little bit because in August, or at least that's what the plan is, IDL Season 2 will start. So that's probably when I will make my return. And I'm just going to use this month to stream on the channel and rest up, make some videos, like normal videos that do not require me to use my brain at all. Or maybe a few, I don't know. Haven't decided yet. But I'm very excited for what's to come. And I will see you all for IDL Season 2. But yeah. That's all for year 1 of Draft League. And again, I did a lot better than I was going to. 15 teams. 15 teams. But one of these days, I hope to bring home the gold. Will it be in year 2? Will I bring a championship home? Stick around to find out. And while you're at it, subscribe to this channel too. Greatly appreciate it. Try to get the 500 subs by this channel's year 3 anniversary, which is going to be in May. But never hurts to start now. We're almost at 350, so I greatly appreciate any subscriptions to this channel and to the Pittsburgh Steelixers channel down below. Trying my best here. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. And yeah, how about you all stay goated? I am your coach of the Pittsburgh Steelixers. My name is Zach Attack. And with that, I hope you all have a glorious day. Fish! Let's do this thing.